All right, hey folks, welcome back to the Flipside. Appreciate you being here. I am going to be giving a review today. This is a live review, so you'll be able to provide feedback, ask me questions, whatever you might want to do in that specific time. But we're going to be taking a look at Doomlings. Doomlings LLC sent me a introductory, I guess, a kind of like a base box for their game. Didn't send any expansions or anything like that, but I understand that there are a number of expansions that are available for the game. Basically, expansions are just another pack of cards that you can add to the cards that you use for the game. Anyway, they sent me their base box, basically, just to give me an introductory to the game to see what I think. And we've been playing this a few times here recently, and using them in a couple of different type situations, family situations, game nights, those kinds of things. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by how well this game has been received when it has hit the table. So we are going to be giving a review about this. That is a review in and of itself, kind of. But we're going to go a little bit deeper than that. Let's see here. We do have some people here. Vanessa G is here. What's up? What's up? Hey, everyone. Last day of vacation, but I had a really fun time today snorkeling around the lagoon. Snorkeling in a lagoon, eh? Well, I don't know that I'm going to be doing that anytime soon, but we're going to be going on a cruise here in a couple of weeks ourselves, and we're looking forward to that. Glad to hear the positive report that you're enjoying yourself, but hopefully you have a safe return. All right, so pardon me, I just slammed lunch and I'm trying to get that out of my teeth before we continue. So professional. I know, it's really gross. I'm sorry. Swish it around, swish some coffee around, that takes care of everything. All right, so with Doomlings, all right, so it says the delightful card game for the end of the world. The delightful card game for the end of the world. Now here's the theme. I like to read the theme. I love to read the context in which the game exists. It was created by, first of all, Justice and Andrew Meyer. And then it also says it was developed with Chris Svela and Eric McCoy. So this game was published in 2020. Well, actually, I see the copyright here at 2020. I believe this is listed on Board Game Geek as 2022. I could be doing that. Professional? Can you even spell that? No, not really. But that's okay. Let's see. Let me take a look at Board Game Geek's entry. I want to say it was 2022, but I could be wrong. I'm bad with numbers, as you know. Yeah, it does say 2022. So it looks like the copyright date is 2020. So there's that. A couple of years of growth and development, probably. But here it goes. It says, somewhere on a doomed and distant planet, life has emerged, competing for dominance until the world's inevitable destruction. Score points by playing traits from your Doomlings species, making them more adaptable, resilient, and mischievous. Play traits across multiple rounds called ages, but be warned, hidden in the ages are catastrophes. Special rounds that befall the planet, forcing you to adapt your strategy until the end of the world. All right, so that's basically what you're doing here. You're going to be playing cards, which are these trait cards. Everybody starts with a hand of 5, and you're going to be playing them down into your tableau. You're basically building up your tableau, and the number here at the bottom equals a number of points that card is going to be worth if it's in your trait pile at the end of the game. All right, so there are a number of different things that are going on here. The ages that were talked about here are in this deck right here. So you have the Birth of Life, which is the first card that you flip over to kind of start the game. And it basically tells you to set your gene pool at 5, and then you can play 1 trait each turn and you stabilize at the end of your turn. So it basically just sets the general parameters of the game for you with the Birth of Life. All right, so that one is flipped over. The first player is chosen at random, and then they will flip this card over and they begin their turn. When it comes back around to them, they're going to flip another card over, and if it is just a regular if it's just a regular age card, then it's going to basically throw some type of wrench into the system. It says you may not play a trait of the same color as the last trait played. So if Susie plays a red trait, then Jeff over here won't be able to play a red trait on his turn, and so forth and so on. He has to play one of the other ones. So maybe he plays a green trait, and then now Vanessa over here, there you go, Vanessa, you're playing now. Vanessa over here won't be able to play a green trait this turn. So that's what this one would do. But then you'll have some that are catastrophe cards. And catastrophe cards will basically say, okay, that's the end of this age. First player will shift. And then you continue playing until another catastrophe comes up. That's the end of the second age. When the third catastrophe comes up, that will end the game, and you tally the points that are in your tableau, and whoever has the most points is the winner. So that's in a nutshell, so to speak, how the game works. On your turn, you're basically able to play a trait out of your hand. All right, so let's get down to the table, and we'll go from there. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Matthew Vincent is here. What's up? What's up? I'll still lose though. Sweet, I'll still lose though. That's okay. We're not going to actually finish the game, so you won't lose. I promise. All right, so here we go. If you are looking at these cards are going to have a number of different things on them. All right, so you'll have some cards that basically have an effect, and that's shown right here like this. So whenever you play a card, you're going to get the effect, whatever it might be. Now, here's other things. You might have some that are action cards, and generally speaking, whenever you play an action card, you have to do whatever it says, unless on the rare occasion that you can't, and then you can just basically ignore it. But basically, whenever you play cards that have this little A on them, you must do whatever is down here, whether it's good or bad for you. Some cards will have no effect, and they're just called effectless traits. Some cards will, and I've already forgotten what some of these symbols do. Sorry. I am horrible with these different icons. All right, so we already talked about the actions. These right here are actions that can be played out of turn. So if somebody else is doing something, so this one says, you may play parasitic from your hand when an opponent plays a trait. Steal that trait, stop its action. All right, so this card can be played out of your hand on somebody else's turn, and that's what that symbol means right there. This is an action card that means that you must do what this says if you are able to. This is an effectless trait, which doesn't have anything. It's just going to give you points at the end of the game. There's a few different things going on with this card. First of all, the gold border and the star means that this is a dominant trait, and you can only have 2 of these in your trait pile throughout the course of the game. If you somehow were going to be able to play a third into your trait pile, then you would actually have to discard it and so forth. But there is a very specific case. It has to do with the Birth of a Hero trait card that would allow you to play another card into your trait pile, and if that happened to be a dominant trait, then you'd be able to keep it, but it's a very rare occurrence, basically. So this one has a couple of different things here. So basically, this little flag symbol right here means that it has a world's end effect that will basically happen at the end of the game. This little symbol here, the little teardrop, the drop of life is what they call it, basically just means that this is going to, this card, it's a reminder basically that this card is going to affect your end total score at the end of the game. So that's what those symbols mean. And that's pretty much all of the symbols that are at least in the base game. There are some others that come out in the expansions, but those are generally what we're talking about here. So, any questions so far? No money in this game, so you're good. Matthew says, cards like me unless there is money involved. Oh, I see. Yep, it's what I get for reading the comments backwards. All right, so on my turn, all right, on my turn, I'm going to be able to play a trait out of my hand. That's the first thing that you can do. So let's just go ahead and do... Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and play viral out there. I'm a viral person, and it is a dominant trait. This is 1 out of 2 that I can have in my trait pile throughout the entirety of the game. But at World's End, I'm going to be able to choose a color, and opponents are going to receive -1 point for each trait of that color in their trait pile. That's a pretty cool one to have. So I'm going to do that. And once I've done that, now there are some times that there are cards that will allow you to play more than 1 card out, and that will allow you to do that. But generally speaking, you can only play 1 card out of your hand on your turn. Once you've done that, now you have to stabilize. And stabilize means that you're going to look at your gene pool card here, and whatever the number is at the top of the card, that's how many cards you can have in your hand. So I look at how many cards I have, and I have 4. My gene pool is 5, which means that I now have to draw 1 card and add it to my hand. Now, let's say that if I had 6 cards in my hand at the end of my turn when I'm stabilizing, if my gene pool number is less than the number of cards that I have, that means I would have to discard into a discard pile, not to the top of the deck. I would have to discard until I got to the thing. So stabilize basically just means that you're going to make sure that your hand size equals your gene pool size. All right, so after I stabilize, that's the end of my turn. Comes over here, and she is going to play, let's see, this is Susie over here. Oh, wow, not going to play that yet. Oh, well, we're going to go ahead and play Brave. So, oh, sorry, I should have flipped this over at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and play Brave. It says +2 for each dominant trait in your hand. Well, that's not in your pile, but it's in your hand. So they've played Brave. Now they're going to stabilize. Their gene pool is 5, so they need to draw a trait into their hand, and that's the end. And so forth and so on. This is how it's going to continue to go. Now, what you're going to do is you do have... I believe it's 5 different colors. Well, specifically, not 5. There are 4 different colors: green, blue, purple, and red. And then there is a colorless traits, which are gray. So when you are playing cards out into your hand, you're going to have, for example, if I played this one out later on, parasitic, I wouldn't do that probably to myself, but I would put purples in this column. And I always want to play it to where I can see the numbers. But then if I want to play something else, I'm going to play green. I have it in a different column. And now all of my green cards are going to be played right here. Then I have blue, and so forth and so on. And then I have a red one as well. And so this is how that's going to go. Then let's see if I can find a gray, because gray is also going to go in its own thing as well. So we'll keep these and so forth. All right. So you basically do that. It's going to come back around to me. Then I'm going to flip this over. And this will say you may not play a trait, so then we have to follow that rule as we're going around playing our turns. Once it comes back to me, I flip over another card. Oops, wrong deck. I'm going to flip over another card, and now we have a catastrophe. Well, catastrophe will have things that affect everybody. So first of all, we would get -1 gene pool. That means we're actually going to take our gene pool, and we're going to make it to where we have 1 fewer. All right? So in this particular case, we're going to flip the card over to 4, And that's not going to affect anybody until the end of their turn when they have to stabilize. That's an important thing to remember. Now, this says discard half your hand rounded up. All right, well, let's say that I had 5 cards in my hand. I have to discard half rounded up. That means I have to get rid of 3, but it doesn't say randomly, so I can choose. Well, we'll get rid of that one. We'll definitely get rid of that one. And, no, actually, we'll keep that one. Get rid of that one. And I have to get rid of 3. Dadgummit. We'll go ahead and get rid of that one as well. So those are all put into a discard pile, and everybody has to do that, and then we continue on just like normal. Now, down at the bottom of these catastrophes, it says World's End, -1 for every purple trait in your trait pile. That's not going to happen unless this was the 3rd catastrophe. Only the white text happens if it's not the 3rd catastrophe. All right, so now we're going to continue, and we flip over. I'm flipping the wrong cards. So now, after we have done this, we've done a round, everybody plays a card, then we flip over another one. This one says draw 2 cards. Okay, well, we all get to draw 2 cards now, and so forth. We continue playing, then it comes back around to the first player. Now we get to draw 1 card after you stabilize. So that's another rule that gets added to our turns, and we continue playing and so forth and so on. And I need to stop drawing from that one. And now we flip it over, and we continue doing that until we come up to, okay, now we have another catastrophe, -1 gene pool, discard 1 trait from your trait pile. All right, well, that means we would have to get rid of one of these down here. And then we continue playing when it comes back to the first player, back to the first player, back to the first player, and so forth and so on. Now, a way to keep track of how many traits have been played, we are going to be starting new piles as each one comes out. So when this one is done and we flip over another one, boom, we start another stack. And then we continue flipping onto this until that second one comes out. And now that we have finished that catastrophe, we're going to start flipping another one. Okay, so forth and so on. And again, these are all, each card flip denotes 1 round where everybody gets to take a turn. And so then we continue, and it just so happened that the last card in the deck is our 3rd catastrophe. We would do everything in the white text, and then we would also do the World's End text as well. After we do whatever that World's End effect is, then we're going to tabulate, adding up all of our scores here. Some cards says this one is value is equal to the number of kidneys in your trait pile, but until the end of the world, this is considered a 0. But at the end of the world, the value is going to be equal to the number of kidneys that you have in your deck. And so you add up all of those kinds of things, taking into effect all of the different at World's End effects that may be in the deck as well. Add all these numbers together, and then whoever has the most points is the winner. And that's basically it for how you play the game in a basic sense. Again, I don't have any of the expansions, so I don't know how much any of those expansions really change how the game works. I would imagine they don't change how the game works very much. They just give you more things to do during the game. Now, I do want to say that the way that you set up the Ages deck is not difficult, but it's important that you get it right. Otherwise, you're going to have something a little wonky happen. So what's going to happen here, first of all, is you're going to shuffle all 25 regular Age cards. All right, and then you're going to make 3 decks, or rather 3 piles of 3 Ages each. Then you're going to shuffle the catastrophe cards, and there's 12 different ones of these. You're going to shuffle them, and then you're going to place 1 on top of each. So now you have 3 piles of 4 cards each. Then you're going to shuffle until you are satisfied, and that will go down here. You'll shuffle these 4 cards. That will go here, and then you'll shuffle these 4 cards. Whoops. and these will go here, and then you put the Birth of Life on top of that, and now you're ready to go with your Age deck. But that's important because unless you do that, you'll have these catastrophes coming up in very a very even dispersion, and you don't want that, because part of the draw of the game is that you don't really know when the end of the world's going to happen. So that has to be kind of a surprise. And so if you mess up on making your Age deck, you can kind of mess up the flow of the game and the surprise of the game. So you want to make sure you do that. That's why I wanted to go over that. All right, let's look at, let's see. Stop reading backwards. Okay, fine. Jeez Louise, Vanessa. So mean. The one time I played this, I think my gene pool ended up at like 2 because I kept getting hit with take that cards that kept shrinking it. Yep. Tommy Clay is here. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you, man. Yo, Sam, is this your full-time job now? Are you still working with Mythic Games? No, I am not, Tommy. I haven't been working for Mythic since, oh, goodness. Since 2022. So it's been a good 2. It's been almost, no, it's, yeah, wow. Yeah, no, it's actually been since, yeah, 2022, May 2022. Yep. It's almost been 2 years. No, it's been longer than that. I don't know. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while. But yeah, what I'm doing is I'm working part-time with the Dice Tower, providing some content for their channel. And then I'm also running my own channel and doing contracting type stuff with different publishers and that type of thing. So usually it's stuff that, you know, Kickstarter previews and playthroughs and that type of stuff, the contracting type stuff that we do for publishers. But yeah, running my own channel and working part-time for the Dice Tower. That's what I'm doing. Jesse is here. Yes, I had gene pool keep getting reduced. My gene pool kept getting reduced as well. Yeah, Jesse does. Ugh, poor typing. I had the gene pool. Yes, keep reducing. Luke Shirus, I'm here too, but haven't had anything to say. No worries, Luke. You don't have to say anything other than hello. That's all I ask. Just let me know you're here. All right. So my final thoughts of the game, and I kind of alluded to that at the beginning a little bit, was the fact that I was pleasantly surprised at how this game was received. Usually I'm a little trepidatious about take that games, and I think one of the reasons why that this one went over a little bit better than most of the take that games that I've played, there isn't a whole lot of it there. There is some. I mean, you saw the parasitic card that I had. Let's see, where is it? I think I put it back on top of the deck, where you could steal a card. You may play parasitic from your hand when an opponent plays a trait, steal that trait, stop its action. Well, here's the thing. That steals the trait, yes, but it stops the action, and when you steal a card, the action doesn't trigger for you. Actions only trigger when you play it out of your hand, so this is a good, I think that's a good balance act for a take that mechanism, because yes, I'm stealing the card from you. Yes, you're not getting the action, but I'm also not getting it either. At that point, I'm really only getting the -2 plus whatever the other card might be. So you're probably going to want to play this on a higher value trait, and that would kind of suck. But again, I don't think that, you know, in other games that have that take that mechanism, it's been, I'm going to steal your card and I get all those positive benefits. Well, not necessarily the case for this. But I do understand what you're talking about with the gene pool with Vanessa and Jesse. And yes, having a small gene pool in this game is one of those things that can be pretty debilitating, because if you only have a hand of 2 or 3 cards and your opponents have like 4, 5, 6, that can be, at the very least, that can be demoralizing. But before I go any further down that road, I do need to basically identify this is not the kind of game that you should be taking seriously. This is one of those games that you just kind of sit down and play and have fun with it and then go play something else. And I think it does that to an extent, but if somebody at the table is taking it a little bit too seriously, yeah, it's going to feel a little bit awkward at times because generally speaking, it's not very fun when you have such a small gene pool. If you have even just a regular gene pool, if you're able to kind of keep it at about 4 or 5, that's pretty doable. And I think it remains fun because you have enough choices in your hand, I think, generally speaking, to still make it fun. But if you're getting below that 4 and you're getting to like 3 or 2 cards, you really kind of feel like you're being forced to play at that point, and that's not very fun. But I will say that if you're getting those gene pool cards, I think those gene pool cards need to happen. Now, one of the things about gene pool cards, the one that gives you +1 gene pool, while they're in your trade pile, they're giving you that +1 to gene pool. But if somebody steals it, it affects your gene pool. All right, so it goes around and it comes around. That's basically how that is. But I think if you go at this game with the idea that, okay, this is just a pub game or whatever you want to call it, it's just one of those kind of games where you're just going to sit down, have some fun, have some laughs, and you're going to move on to something else. Don't take it seriously. Just have fun with it. One of the coolest things that, as we get into pros and cons here, I will say that my first pro is I love the little quotes that are on many of the cards. Not all of them, but many of the cards. Well, actually, you know what? I think most of them do. It's the effects that aren't on some of the cards. But for example, this card here, Late. This says, has a little quote down at the bottom. It says, "Sorry, there was a fire and traffic, and the line for coffee was really long." I can laugh at that because, and I know Jess can laugh at it too, because I know she's had coworkers that have come in late and say, it was really hard. And what are they carrying? They're carrying this big old steaming cup of coffee that they just got from the coffee shop. And I'm like, if you're late, how did you get that? I'm pretty sure that's what's made you late, So stuff like that is funny. Kidney, it says, with a party cap, just because the kidney's drawn with a party cap. Sweat, I bench so I can brunch. Deep roots, I discuss the weather with my neighbor. That is now my forever home. This is now my forever home. Viral, like, share, comment, and be sure to smash that subscribe button. Viral. Parasitic. We all have that one friend who has never had their credit card. We all have that one friend who never has their credit card and is constantly drinking blood. That's kind of gross, but it's funny. It's pithy. So that's one of the cool things that I think is fun about the game, because part of the game's enjoyment, for me at least, is reading those comments and laughing at them and having other people laugh at them and talk about different situations that might relate to those kinds of things. So I wouldn't say so much that it's a conversation starter, but it really can be. I think that's pretty cool. The second pro for me is I do like the age mechanism of the game and how it can keep the game moving along at a pretty fast clip. Now, I will say this. Those catastrophe cards are pretty stinking nasty. All of them have -1 gene pool. So they're cutting down the number of cards that you can have in your hand every single time that they come up. That being said, some of the regular age cards are also nasty, but they also make the game more interesting. For example, Eclipse says players cannot play We're Red traits. Age of Dracula. Discard 1 random card from your hand if vampirism is in your trait pile, meaning that you've already played it out on the table. Steal 1 random card from an opponent's hand. So that's an interesting thing, but it's highly, that second part, that second effect is highly circumstantial. Coastal formations, draw one card after you stabilize. So some of these are good, some of them aren't good, some of them are good if you have the right cards down in your trait pile, and so forth and so on. I really like this mechanism. I think it's what keeps the game fresh and interesting, even though some of the age cards do kind of hit you pretty hard. I don't think it's hard enough to make it not fun. Again, taking that with the caveat that we're not taking the game seriously from the beginning. All right, so that's important. But what I really like about this is that the age cards, I like event cards basically, and that's what these are. I like the mechanism of the age cards, and then the added catastrophe cards on top of them, which are giving that that structure to the game, that round structure. I really thought that was a fun mechanism to do. Third is it's very simple to play. Very, very simple to play. My first game of this was with Jess. My second game of this was with a couple that was new to our gaming group a couple Fridays ago, and this just caught their eye. And so we sat down. I was able to teach them how to play in about less than 5 minutes, and we were able to hit the ground running. We played an entire game there in about 30 minutes, and they had a blast. Me and the dude got shellacked. His wife, I believe, maybe girlfriend, shellacked both of us, and we had a great time. And it's just because I think neither of us were. None of us were really taking it seriously. We were all just playing cards, having fun, and it was a good time. So that's my third pro of the game, is the fact that it's just a simple game to teach. It's a simple game to play. You can get into it, and you can definitely kind of micromanage your hand and your tableau. And there's going to be people that do that, and absolutely fine and dandy. I usually don't. I usually just play what seem like it's going to work well from time to time, and I have a good time with it. My only con of the game has already been mentioned, and that is the take that nature of the game. I'm always, how can I say this? I'm always, apprehensive with take that games, because it can usually happen, or it can often happen. I won't say usually. It can often happen where one person usually can bear the brunt of most of that take that, because it just becomes funny. Oh, you got hit? Oh, that's too bad. Oh, boom. Oh, you got hit again? Boom, you got hit again. Oh, it's kind of like that idea of, the draw fours and draw twos and in Uno, and we're going to be talking about Uno in a little bit, but that's just, I'm very apprehensive about playing take that games, because I know how nasty they can get. But if you just come into the game not taking it seriously, I think that this is one that will be fun. That's my only con with the game, and really taking it with that caveat of not taking the game seriously, it's not really a large con at all. But I will say that this has been a pleasant surprise in the experience that I've had, because generally speaking, I don't enjoy take that card games. I really don't. But this one has been one of those things where I've enjoyed the times that it's hit the table. So with that being said, I'm going to give it a rating of 1 thumb up. And reason I give it just 1 thumb up and not 2 is because take that card games are really not my bag. But this is one that I'll be willing to play. This is one that I'll be willing to play because I'll go into it with the knowledge that, hey, there's take that stuff. I'm going to get beat down possibly. I'm just going to roll with it. And if you do that, I think it really does help you enjoy the game a little bit more as you go on. Victoria is here. Hello, hello. I'm listening and making lunch. That's a good thing to do, Victoria. Thanks for being here. Stefan is here. What's up? What's up? My gene pool needs drained. Well, you said that. I didn't, Eric. It was a pretty quick game, and I knew there was a chance of getting screwed over, so I didn't really care. That's good. The flavor text on the cards is really funny. Yes, cards are super funny. Sore losers should stick to solo games. Is that a confession, Eric? Is that what that is? That was a confession, wasn't it? I'm proud of you, bro. All right. So definitely one thumb up. I think that if you are looking for a game that is, I guess, newer, that you want to be able to share with people, that will just be kind of like maybe part conversation starter, maybe first game of the night as you ease into the rest of the games, this would fill that niche very well, I think. And so that's why I'm giving it one thumb up. I think it's definitely a try before you buy type of thing. But again, I don't think their prices are super expensive here. I would just go ahead and purchase at least just the base box, and if you like it, buy some of the expansions as well. But they also have a lot of deals on their website that you can go check out too. On Doomlings.com, I think is what the name of it is. The text for their website is in the description below, so you can go check that out. Go check out the BGG entry and see what you think. Honestly, they contacted me on email, and I said, you know what? I'll give this one a try. I was not expecting a lot. And as I've said many times before already in this review, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know that I would have actively bought this one, but they sent it to me. I played it, I reviewed it, and I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. All right, and that says a lot for a take that card game from me. I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything like that, because that's kind of a bad thing to say. I did not like it, but I was pleasantly surprised. That's the better way to put that. I was pleasantly surprised by this, so take that for what it's worth. Let's see. Let me go ahead and pack up here, and I'll where did the other one go? There it is. Let's see. So I'll be reading some chats as well as we get through all of this. Put this away because I got to get Uno going here in just a minute. Put that over there, like that. Does anybody have any questions about Doomlings before we move on? As I'm passing, as I'm cleaning up here, because I don't want to just head out if there are other questions to be had. There's catastrophe. Yeah, see that those two catastrophes only had 2 cards between them. That's the kind of surprise factor. Oh, and the first and second one only had 1 card in between it. Wow, that would have been a fast game. But it was closer down towards the end of the deck. So how did 4 get in there? Should have only been 3. Oh well, that was my bad. Okay, so let's see. All right, these are the regular ones, and these are the catastrophes. Good. That's another catastrophe. Catastrophe. Okay, let's see. Just roll with the catastrophe. That's right. Would you bring it to your church game nights? Yeah, I probably would. Philip. It definitely has a very anemic theme to it. It does have that, and we don't have any. Yeah, this would do very well in a church setting, I think. It doesn't really go that far down into anything that's off the wall or anything like that. Athletes are always talking about how they hate to lose, and I'm thinking you are on the wrong planet. You know what? I actually had a guy in my church when I was in Florida. He was our varsity baseball coach. All right, so I will say that. He was our varsity baseball coach, and we were thinking about starting up a church softball team. as an outreach type program where we can fellowship with other churches and that type of thing. And I asked him if he would play with us. Just because we were an older church, and I was just trying to find people that wouldn't die on the baseball field as we played our game. And his first question was, "Are we going to win?" And I said, "Sure, maybe. I can't promise you that we're going to win." And he's like, "Well, no, if we're not going to try to win, then I don't want to play." I was like, "Okay, thank you." And I just went on. I was like, "Okay, that's not the vibe I wanted on this softball team." So definitely get that idea. Let's see. Good thing I can handle losing, or else I would have left the hobby a while ago, right? That's okay. I'm jerk enough for the two of us. Is it soloable? Doomlings, no. I don't believe it is solo. It is 2 to 6. 2 to 6. And the base game didn't come with a solo mode. So whether one of the expansions does, I couldn't tell you. All right. Now, Uno. Let's see. Do you have any more? I didn't make sure here. Are you aware of the playmat? I am not aware of the playmat. A playmat sounds like it would be a very cool thing for Doomlings. How many cards are in the base box? That's a good question. Good question, Eric. In the base box. There are 15 catastrophe cards, 25 age cards, so that's 40. And then it doesn't say how many trait cards there are. Where is it? Where is it? Doesn't say how many trait cards there are. But, I mean, here's the deck of trait cards that come in the base box. If you want, I can count it. But you're looking at maybe 70, 80 cards, maybe. You know, a deck of cards is usually about so big, and that's 52. Maybe it's like that, 52. So I don't know. Maybe it's closer to 100. But it doesn't say anywhere where I can find it. Yeah, shuffle the traits. Doesn't say how many cards are in there, sorry. But I would say probably, I don't know, maybe 100, 120 maybe. That's how many cards are in the trait pile. And I'd say that's probably about 100. I'm just going to do it. It's your fault, Eric. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so that's 20. So got 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah, about 100, maybe a little bit over 100. And you start with 5 cards in each hand, so it goes up to 6 players. So you're gonna be using half the deck, you know, to start the game with, and so that's about that, though. Sam's already run out of fingers and toes to use. I did. It slows down. Don't count. You can't count that high. I can only count to 4. All right, so Uno Elite as we move on, because we are going to be talking about Uno Elite now. This was a purchase that I made because my son Aiden is really into football, and we went to my second oldest son's house, his wife, and got to see the new grandbaby for Thanksgiving. They were walking through Walmart one night, and they saw Aiden saw this, and he said, "Now that's a game I would play." And then he told me about it as well, and I was like, "All right, fine, let's play it," because it's a game that my son said he would play. So I went ahead and picked it up. Now, it's basically just Uno. So if you've played Uno, you start with a hand of cards. I believe it's 7 cards. Maybe it's 8. Seven cards each. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So you're going to have 7 cards in your hand that look similar to this. Let's go ahead and go down to the table here, and we'll talk about that. All right. So you have different things, different cards. Now, generally speaking, what you're trying to do in Uno is you have a you have your deck of cards out here, and then you have the card that's turned over. What you have to do is you have to match the color or the number. So I could play this 5 onto this 3 because it matches the color. So it comes back around, and now, I don't have any yellow again, so I'm going to use this 5 because there's a 5 on top. I'm going to match the number instead. All right, so that's generally speaking. Now it comes around, and we have some different symbols that are coming up here. So this, dang it, why did I get up to... Why did I get up to that one? Okay, so this is the recover symbol, and it's usually going to allow you to recover a... Man, that's not the... This is one of the things I don't like about it. So because the iconography doesn't match the other things in the game, so my apologies, but it's not a reverse, it's a recover. Recover 1. Play again, discard, draw 1, skip, player card, Uno card. Let's go, okay. Yep, all right. So this is the recover icon, thank you. This allows you to recover 1 player card from your discard pile and put it back into your deck. We'll talk about player cards in just a few moments. This is a wild recover. This allows you to take up to 3 cards from your thing. And then whenever you play this, for example, if I played it there, if I didn't have any reds or what have you, I could recover up to 3 cards from my player card deck and then choose the new color. I could do that. This one allows you to just recover 1 card basic. So there's a number of different cards in here that do certain things. We'll talk about these. Stars in just a few moments. All of the reds have a circle. The greens have a triangle. And the yellows have a star. All right. So I thought that was a cool thing. So we're not... So we have to match the symbol or the number if you're colorblind, if you have trouble with color blindness. So there's that. Now, you also have these cards here that have stars on them, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm trying to get to where we are getting our... I should have looked through the game. This is I had everything set up that I wanted to go over with earlier. All right, now the cool thing about Uno Elite is that all of the draw 2s and stuff like that are found here on the player cards. All right, so these player cards are going to be doing the skips and the draw 1s, draw 1s, draw 1, and then you can play another turn. This one allows you to look at somebody else's, look at a card in somebody else's hand. This has a +1 symbol, meaning that you have to draw one card, but because it has a target symbol on it, that might not be in the picture, sorry. Because it has the target symbol on it, then that, kind of like this one right here, that means you can pick anybody at the table to draw one card. This one allows you to pick somebody to draw one card and skip the next person. This one says everybody except you draws one more card and you get to go again. All right, so the way that this is going to be playing here is that you're going to have a deck of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to have a deck of 8 cards, and these are your player cards. And so whenever you play a card that has the star symbol or the elite symbol on it, you can activate a player of the same color as the one you played and use their ability. When you do that, they go into your discard pile and another one comes out. All right, so you're always going to have 3 players available to you. And then when you play cards like this, the recover, that allows you to take this card back into your discard pile. Because once you're out of these, you're out for the rest of the game. So keep that in mind. But it allows you to do a number of different things that are out here. Let me just go ahead and put these out here. This allows you to recover. Take one card, Uno or player, depending on the icon. So this is a player card. This is an Uno card. All right, so there's Uno cards and then there's player cards. So this one allows you to recover one player card and you get to do another turn. This one, you get to choose somebody to draw one Uno card and take another turn. This one is a targeted skip. So you can choose who gets skipped that turn after you do that. And this is a basically just skip twice in a row. All right. So it kind of takes the draw twos and the reverses and the skips and the draw fours and all of that kind of stuff out of the Uno deck, and it places it on the player cards so that the elements are still there, but they're not in the Uno cards section. And a lot of the cards, instead of making you draw or other kind of stuff like that, it's allowing the player to recover some of those player cards from their discard pile. The game end or the round end conditions are all the same. Somebody, you're trying to get rid of your hands first. You're trying to get rid of all of the cards in your hand first. When you get down to one card, you have to announce Uno. And if somebody announces it before you remember to, then you have to draw 2 cards, and so forth and so on. I will say this. This is probably one of the most egregious games for house rules ever. Because even when we were playing the game after we bought this, I was having to correct, can we do this? No, that's not a rule of Uno, that's a house rule. Well, what about this? Can we do that? No, that's a house rule. Well, what about this? No, that's a house rule. There's so many different things. I was checking in the rule book as well. So maybe it's just this version and not something else. But anyway, let's see here. Uno Elite, I hope there aren't any cowboys in the deck. There are cowboys in the deck. There's only one bear though. I guess that makes sense. There are no dolphins. That kind of made Aiden mad. The dolphins are his final thing. Let's see. I don't hate Uno, Vanessa says. I'd play this all day or even a round of Monopoly. Ooh, I don't know about that. Only Uno variant I thought looked interesting was Show 'em No Mercy, where it's player elimination instead of first one out. That's actually pretty funny. Hey, I see my home team represented there. I wonder who that might be. I really like Doomlings in spite of my typical tastes. Really fun. Take that game that didn't feel it took too long. Exactly, Ryan. Well said. Thank you for that. Vanessa says, I haven't been shocked by a play of a game like that in a long time. Totally unexpected. Totally expected to hate that first play. I also don't like Uno, but have been collecting variants that I've liked more. Uno Wild Tiles, Uno Quattro, Uno Teams, Uno Rummy Up, Uno Dice. Interesting. Well, one of the things that is interesting about this game is that it is actually a collectible card game. There are cards that have, like these right here. I don't know, is that in the picture? No, it's not. Like these down here, these are foil cards that the game came with a pack also, but you can also buy packs of cards, and they can be, the foils will actually have different abilities down here. Now, another cool factor about the game, and I will say this, okay, let me just get to my final thoughts here, because I've already explained how to play the game. My final thoughts are this. All right, first of all, it's just Uno. Whether you like it or dislike it, that's what it is. So if you dislike Uno, just stay away from this game. If you don't mind, as some people have said in the chat, if you don't mind Uno, or if you enjoy Uno, go ahead, pick this up. If you enjoy football and Uno, this would probably be somewhat of a fun game for you, and I'll get to why in just a few moments. One of the things that I liked about it, my first pro of the game, is that I like the player cards. I like the fact that each person has their own 8 individual cards, and that they're able to do, they have their own set of abilities on those 8 individual cards. I also like that they are, they have that aspect to them of where they go away. You use them once and they go away. And then the only way you can get them back is if you play some of those recover cards. I like that aspect as well. But the really cool factor about it for me is you can draft your team before the game starts. So you can actually hold a draft before the game, and everybody gets to draft their own players. There's also another version of playing games that everybody brings their own deck of 8 players to the table, and they use their own deck that they built because they've been buying those collectible packs and so forth and so on. So that's another cool variation of the game that I think is interesting. But at the end of the day, it's still just Uno. So take that for what it's worth. That was my biggest pro of the game, because I'm not a huge fan of Uno. It's not that I think it's a bad game. It's one of the reasons why I put it in with Doomlings is because it is another take that game. You're telling people to draw more cards. You're skipping people's turns. You're reversing an order, which is in essence sometimes worse than a skip. It feels like, at least. Anyway, they're both take that games, and they're both games that I was actually pleasantly surprised. Doomlings I was much more happy with than with Uno Elite, but I do like the player cards in this one. So I'm going to give this one thumb up as well, because at the end of the day, it's Uno. It's a take it or leave it type of game. People either love it, or they hate it, generally speaking. And the rest of us are just indifferent. And we'd rather not play it, but if somebody wants to play it, okay, sure, let's go ahead and play it. But with the player cards in there, and the fact that I do enjoy watching football, at least to some extent, that made it slightly more interesting than just a regular game of Uno. So take that for what it's worth. I think it's an interesting mesh of 2 different, otherwise almost polar opposite worlds, football and Uno. But I think it's an interesting meshing. And I think that if you like football and you like Uno, this is probably one that you want to go check out at the very least. If you like collectible card games, this might even have more of a draw to it, because you can buy collectible card packs for it. So that's pretty much it. 1 thumb up. I didn't not enjoy it, but would I have bought it if my son hadn't asked for it? Probably not. But that's just that. Let's see here. Audio? No, I think audio, so it's going in and out on my end. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there another Elite for basketball? You can combine them to make your own deck. That I don't know. Fix, thanks. What about NAR? NAR is an awesome game. If you don't own NAR, something is wrong with you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, NAR is a great game. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Such a small little package with such a deep game inside of it. Great game. Great game. Tommy, go check that out. You need to play it. But that's about it. I've been here for about an hour. I reviewed 2 games. I did Doomlings first. So rewind and go check that out if you want. And I was really pleasantly surprised about with this one. This one is one that I would recommend that you at least entertain the idea of picking up. And then Uno Elite, we talked about that here in the last few minutes, and it's an interesting twist on Uno. If you like football, go check it out. Go look into it. I'm not going to tell you to go buy it because whether you do or not is really largely and completely up to you. But it was a pleasant surprise for me. I liked the idea of having your own players, which constitutes the special things that you can do in your turn. So there you have it. That's it for me, though. What's the rest of the week? The rest of the week, tomorrow, I cannot promise that I will be able to do anything tomorrow. We did get a good bit of snow yesterday, which may have socked in the passes. I did actually have WSDOT's app loaded up here so that I could talk about it. Right now, Blewett Pass is no restrictions, and Snoqualmie is no restrictions. That's the route that I take to get over to the airport. So, but it does look like it's raining on Snoqualmie right now, and Blewett has partly cloudy skies. So, but generally speaking, I think I'm not going to promise that I'll be able to do anything tomorrow morning because I do have to get over to Seattle to get to the airport, and then I'll be coming back. Friday, we will have a our regularly scheduled playthrough, and then Saturday morning, we're going to try earlier to do a live Q&A with Jesse earlier in the morning before everybody gets up on Saturday morning. So that's what we're going to do. I got my kitchen people that are working on the kitchen upstairs. They're back from lunch, so I need to get on out of here. Thank you guys for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. Go check out Doomlings and Uno Elite, and that's that. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care. Thumb rating for Uno, 1 thumb up. There you go, Philip. How often will you be doing this? I try to do a live every day, Tommy, except for Sundays. I don't do lives on Sundays. But generally speaking, if you look back at the channel, I try to do a live every single day, at least one. Sometimes we do a couple, and then we also have other videos that pop up that are edited as well. So good to see you, Tommy. Thanks for being here. Good to see everybody else. Take care, and we'll see you on the flip side, folks. Bye-bye.